All right, so Secretary of State races are in the spotlight across the country. Former President Barack Obama laid out the stakes of Nevada's Secretary of State race between Cisco Aguilar and election-denying Republican Jim Marchant. Take a look.
Democracy is at stake in this election, Nevada. We also have to elect good people up and down the ballot, like Cisco Aguilar, who's running to be your Secretary of State. Cisco's opponent wants to make it harder to vote. He's trying to one-up all the Republicans peddling lies about the 2020 election by saying that all elections in Nevada for the last 15 years have been fake. Really? The last 15 years, all of them. That's not somebody you want in charge of your elections. It'd be like if the Raiders were playing the Chiefs and you notice that instead of the refs who've been calling games for 20 years, somebody said, hey, how about that guy over there wearing the Chiefs gear who's been tailgating for the last 3 hours, drinking some brews, and ranting about how the Chiefs actually beat the Bucs in the Super Bowl last year. They look impartial. Let's put them in charge.
Okay.
That's hitting them where they live.
Cisco Aguilar joins us now. I think President Obama kind of laid out what's at stake here. But your opponent is an election denier. So make the case for your candidacy.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. Look, it's an honor to run for Secretary of State in Nevada, especially when I'm running against one of the most dangerous candidates in America. And I say dangerous because Nevada is a major battleground state. And he has predetermined who will win the 24 presidential election. He stood on stage next to Donald Trump and said, if I am elected Secretary of State, Donald Trump will be the president in 24, without regard to the will of Nevada voters. That's dangerous. And that's unacceptable. And I'm here to stand up to him and say Nevadans are going to have a say and will have a say. My race is no longer about Democratic or Republican priorities. It's about protecting access to the ballot box for all Nevadans.
So Mr. Aguilar, I was just talking about some frustrations about Democrats. I want to talk about frustration that Meek and I have had with Republicans. When we talk to Republicans who will tell you, people with advanced degrees, oh yeah, the election was stolen. Yeah, there was a guy in Italy with, and then they tried out these conspiracy theories. I'm wondering what you're hearing out on the campaign trail. Are you able to make some headway with voters who are Republican but still accept that the 2020 election was fair?
Yes, absolutely. And the reason is we have a Republican Secretary of State now, Barbara Cegavske, who's done a phenomenal job with our elections in Nevada. They are secure. And when an instance or a presumption of fraud has occurred, she's investigated and found that that instance was false. We did have one case, and that individual was prosecuted, but he was standing on a major soapbox screaming fraud. In reality, he's the one who committed the actual fraud. But when you're talking to voters and you're talking about what's on the line here, they want to ensure that their access to the voter box is protected. Nevada has some of the most accessible elections in the country with mail ballots, early voting. And I think if you look at the weather, our first day of early voting, we had a major dust storm in Las Vegas and turnout was pretty low. It was because of the weather. But Nevadans had options to be able to voice their concerns and prioritize what we are doing as a state.
Mr. Aguilar, your opponent indeed is calling for eliminating mail voting, is calling for eliminating most early voting, and is pushing for hand counts of ballots, which we know slows down the process dramatically. What is your counter to that? What is your platform to continue to allow Nevadans access to the ballot?
It's explaining why it's important. Again, I go back to the issue we had with weather. And again, we're looking at tomorrow's weather up in northern Nevada. You see a major snowstorm coming, and then you show the importance of mail ballots. Everybody in northern Nevada has the option to execute and vote on a mail ballot. They can mail it in or they can drop it off at a ballot box. It's explaining people, especially in Nevada and Las Vegas, we are a 24/7 economy. Most people work a 12-hour shift, and as you explained, we're struggling with this economy, but we have people working 2 jobs, and to ask them to take time off of their day to go vote on a single Tuesday in November is unacceptable when it's not necessary. We have options for working people, and what my opponent is doing is trying to silence them. And when you silence a community or a large sector of a community, you're bringing in disenfranchisement from those people having a say in what their government looks like and how their government behaves. And he wants to make sure that it's only him and a select few who are determining what our future looks like.
Nevada.
I'm not going to stand for somebody who's trying to silence our community, especially our Latino and Black communities.
Nevada's Democratic nominee for Secretary of State, Cisco Aguilar, thank you very much for coming on the show this morning.